Welcome to our daily reflection for this Thursday, November 28th, and happy Thanksgiving to all my fellow Americans. And for those of you who are around the world, have patience with us. We're going to focus on the readings today that are used by the Americans in the USCCB, the Bishops' Conference, for celebrating Thanksgiving, which is a very, I know this is a very American feast and holiday, but it has Christian roots. And because it was Christians who desired, to give thanks to God for saving them and providing for them in their journey to this new land. And so the readings today are beautiful readings about giving thanks and praise to God, which is what we owe God, right? And I want to just tackle each reading and talk about how it fits under this theme of praise and thanksgiving for us as we celebrate this day of Thanksgiving. The first reading is from the book of Sirach, chapter 50. And if you go back and read all of that chapter, you realize that Sirach 50 is the culmination of the whole book of Sirach, and it's a hymn of thanksgiving and praise to God. And it's really beautiful. And it says, now, we bless God of all. Now, of course, God is the one who gives blessing to us, and we think about it in the liturgy. The priest, on behalf of God, blesses us in the name of God. So what does it mean biblically when we are to bless God? It means that we return his blessing, his gift of grace, and we return that with praise and thanksgiving. That's what it means to bless God. It's to receive his blessing with a joyful heart that then loves back. We love because he first loved us. And that's what's at the core of blessing and praise, is that we've been loved by God, and then we love him back with praise and thanksgiving. And so that's what it means biblically for us to bless God. And then it says, may he grant you joy of heart and peace abide among you. And of course, those are two great fruits that come from being a disciple of Jesus Christ and a follower of God. The closer we are to our Father in heaven, the more we have the fruit of joy, which is a fruit of the Spirit, which is not a fruit of sin in the flesh. People who live a wicked, selfish life don't experience joy. They might have fleeting pleasures, but joy abides in a heart that's filled with love and that loves. And joy is only known by the lover, by those who are authentically loving and giving of themselves and making themselves a gift to others. And then peace. Peace is not just the absence of conflict, but shalom. Peace is the presence of right ordered relationships. And when our relationship with God is rightly ordered, our relationship with our family members and our neighbor and others is rightly ordered, we experience deep peace. Those are two great fruits of living in God. And when we have those fruits, it is receiving the blessing and love of God. And then that prepares us to give thanks and praise to him back. And that's what we're invited to. And then we move to the psalm for the day. And I love this psalm. The church always uses this psalm for Thanksgiving. And it's the last Psalm of David that's named as a Psalm of David in the Psalter. And then after it, you get just simply a bunch of hymns of praise and thanksgiving, which are beautiful. But this is the last magnificent psalm that's attributed to David. And it's really the last great psalm of the Psalter. And I love it because it does two things. It gives praise for who God is and celebrates who God is, that he's merciful and gracious, slow to anger, abounding in steadfast love. So it gives praise for who God is, and it gives thanks for what God has done for us. And I love those two things in terms of praise and thanks that David does, because David, in a sense, he's the great musician, he's the great singer and psalm writer, but he's also a great theologian. And David gives praise for who God is, and he gives thanks for what God has done. Think about that as you read this psalm. And I really invite you. This psalm is the perfect prayer. It's a long psalm, and you could choose sections of it, or you could be bold and go for all of it. But I invite you during your prayer, don't just do for Thanksgiving tonight, don't just do the blessing, the regular blessing prayer, but add this psalm at the beginning, and maybe even divide it up at the ending of your meal with all your family and friends tonight. Use Psalm 145 as part of your dinner prayer. It's a special dinner, and it's supposed to be Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving to who? To God. That's what the pilgrims gave thanks to. They gave thanks to God. That's what we should give thanks to. And I also invite you to do something that's more Christian and spiritual during this Thanksgiving dinner. Have everyone go around and give thanks of how God has blessed them over the last year, since the last Thanksgiving. And that will lead to a table conversation that's very fruitful and glorious and honors God. And of course, one of the things that God asks his people when he gives the great Shema, the great prayer, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one Lord, and you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and all your strength." And then God goes on, those next verses in Deuteronomy 6, verse 6 and following, to say that you shall speak about these things when you're at table, when amongst your family. So let's speak about the things of God. And that's what Psalm 145 invites us to do. It says, "Let them discourse of the glory of your kingdom, O Lord," right? And speak about your might. Well, let's do that. Let's discourse about the mighty kingdom of God and what he has done for us as we give him thanks and praise. And then that will fulfill what Jesus speaks about in the gospel today. When he heals the 10 lepers, one comes back when he realizes he's healed to give thanks and praise to God and to thank Jesus. And Jesus asks, where are the other 9? They were healed too. And they don't come back to give thanks and praise. Oh, the ingratitude of the human heart. 9 out of 10 of us fail to give thanks to God. And I think that pattern oftentimes doesn't change. And I think it's also true in our own lives. If we search our hearts, we know that 9 out of 10 times we don't give gratitude to those who help us and bless us and serve us. And we don't do that for God most of all. That's the one we take the most for granted. And so today, let's be thankful to God and to our family and friends for all that they do for us. And let us give thanks to God always, as Paul says to the Corinthians in 1 Corinthians 1, verse 4. Paul says, "I give thanks to my God always," right? Let's make Thanksgiving, being Eucharistic, because that's the word Paul uses, a part of our spirituality on this Thanksgiving day. Let's be Eucharistic, because Paul gives Eucharist, he gives thanks for God's charis. And of course, at the heart of the word Eucharist is the Greek word charis, which means grace, but literally means gift. So God charis, he gives gifts to us, and then our response is to be Eucharist, to receive well with thanksgiving that gift that God gives us of life and of grace. And so we have so much to be thankful for. Let's, in our meditation today, reflect on all God's blessings over the last year, and let's give him praise and thanks and sing and praise Psalm 145 with joyful hearts. May the Lord bless and keep you.
This daily reflection is brought to you thanks to the generous support of the Mission Circle. Join the Mission Circle to help Catholics worldwide understand, live, and share their faith. Sign up at missioncircle.org today.